Alright, today we're going to be working on a 2004 Land Rover Discovery Series 2. And we're going to be changing out the pulleys on the engine itself and also the main tensioner. So let's go ahead, we're going to grab a few tools here. Just going to grab a 1/2-inch drive ratchet. We're going to grab a 13 and a 15 millimeter socket. We might need an extension, so we'll grab one of these small extensions. And we're going to need a breaker bar. So, and that'll come in handy for a couple of uses. So that's a 1/2-inch breaker. And then we also have a special tool that we're going to use. And we're going to, and here it is. So we're going to use this. This is a 36 millimeter. It's a special spanner. It's a very thin profile. And then this is actually going to hold the fan so that we can apply torque so that we can remove the fan. You can use something else to hold it, but this is actually probably the simplest way to do it. Show you how to do that, and you can also have a look afterwards. This is probably the easiest way to get the fan off, and it will give us a lot of room to work inside. Okay, so the first thing we're just going to do is we're going to remove this cowl cover here, and it's just 4 Phillips screws. These are attached so they will not come off, and it's just a 1/4 turn on each one. That's it. And one here and another one in the front. And then you'll see that down here is another one, and then there's one more on the other side. And here it is. A little hard to see. I'm just going to push the hose out of the way. Okay, good. Now this just comes right off. I'm going to take this hose out, and don't be afraid to just kind of move this out of the way, just like that. Okay, next thing we're going to do is we're going to remove the fan so we can access the pulleys, get easy access to the belt. The way to do that is we're going to take this tool, so this will actually hold the fan in place. It's going to be a little hard to see, so I'll let you take a look at it after I remove the fan. Okay, so I've got that locked into those bolts. Now we're going to take the 36 millimeter fan spanner. Now to get a little bit more leverage on there, to apply more torque, I'm taking my 1/2-inch breaker bar, inserting it into this hole here, and that's going to allow me to grab the fan, apply a torque, and you see, and that's it. Now I could go ahead and start to remove the fan. Okay, so here I'm just going to now remove the fan, just continuing to loosen it up, going counterclockwise. Okay, so just last turn you could do by hand, and then I'm going to remove the fan right through the front here. Okay, I just wanted to show you how I was able to remove the fan. So you'll see these bolts right here. This is what the special tool does. It actually goes in there, holds that, so it prevents that from turning, and then I'm able to go in and then loosen the fan nut like this, and that's it. So this will hold it steady. Okay, now we're going to take our 15 millimeter breaker bar, 1/2-inch drive, and we are going to insert that right here on the tensioner, and then I'm going to actually turn this clockwise. I know it's a little counterintuitive, but turning it clockwise will loosen the tension on the belt. See that? So I'm going to go ahead move that forward, belt comes right off. Look at that, really nice. Okay, we're going to start on this first pulley here. So I just inserting my 13 millimeter socket, and we'll just go ahead and we're going to start loosening that. I'll finish the rest by hand. Okay, you'll see the old part here I just removed. Pretty worn. Really is a good idea to start changing these. Probably about 100,000 miles. Once you start to hear those little squeaks. And here's the new one. So let's go ahead, we'll just tighten that by hand to start. All right, I'm just going to finish up here, and it's a slightly bigger bolt. Alright, so this bolt on this replacement part is actually slightly larger, 1 millimeter larger, so that's 14 millimeters. I'm just going to tighten it, and then we're going to torque it to the right setting, which is 37 pounds. Okay, I got my torque wrench out here, so we'll go ahead. It's already set to 37 pounds. And there we go. Alright, the next pulley we're going to work on is this jockey pulley down here. So that just goes back to the original size, 15 millimeters. I'm going to go ahead and we break the torque, and I'll just do the rest by hand. Alright, so we're going to go ahead, and here's the new part. That also has a slightly larger bolt. It's 1 millimeter larger, 14 millimeters. Okay, that also gets torqued to 37 pounds. Alright, we've got our torque wrench out, already set from the last pulley. Okay, there we go. Okay, sorry, I actually messed up. Actually a little bit ahead of myself, so I'm going to take this off because we're also replacing the main tensioner right here. So to ease access, I should have left that off. So I'm going to go ahead, I just loosened that. So I'm just going to go ahead and remove the rest by hand here. And then we'll do this and then the jockey pulley. Alright, we're going to use our 13 millimeter socket here and take out the main tensioner. Looks like I can go ahead and do the rest by hand. Here's the replacement part for the main tensioner. You'll see there's a locating pin here, and that'll get inserted right in here, so that'll help you position it correctly. Now from the old tensioner, you're going to need to retain the bolt. Okay, and then let's go ahead, we'll fit that in. You're just going to have to feel your way around here. And I think I got it. Okay. I'm just going to finish tightening up here. Then we're going to move to our torque wrench and keep this also at 37 pounds for the setting. Alright, we're going to go ahead and torque this. I actually said 37 pounds, but it's actually slightly less on this one, which is 33 pounds. So let's go ahead and get that all tightened up here. Great. Okay, now we can go ahead and insert a jockey pulley. Alright, we're going to torque this now to 37 pounds. And we're back to our 14 millimeter. Super. Okay, so now we're going to get ready to reinstall the belt back on. And just take very careful notice of the different pulleys here, you'll see this one has ridges, so that's going to actually go. So the belt is going to go on the outside of this, because it'll be ridge to ridge or contour to contour. On this pulley down here, you'll see it's smooth. So this will make contact with the back side of the belt. So we just have to make sure it's routed correctly. So you can kind of see the general direction, and that's how I want to go, just like that. This last piece will go over this pulley right over here, right over the alternator pulley. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to get my breaker bar. Actually, this replacement part also went up in size, so from 15 to 16 millimeters. So I'm going to give that just a little push. Make sure we got everything else in here. Everything looks pretty well seated. Oh, except for this guy right here. It actually went over. I'm just going to adjust it just a little bit on this side here. It does have to sit perfectly on these pulleys. Okay, I'm just going to check one more time. Make sure everything is perfectly seated. Everything looks straight. Check over here. Alright, perfect. Alright, next thing is let's go ahead and reinstall the fan. I'm just going to give it a few turns here until it catches. Okay, I'm just using this to get the final turns. Okay, now for the final turn, we're going to insert our torque wrench into our tool. And we're going to torque this to 33 pounds. Perfect. Okay, and the last thing to do is let's get our cowl cover on here. And we're just going to reverse the process. Be very careful. This tubing right here, it is fragile. So once again, we can go ahead and just bend that up, just like that. Make sure you get underneath. And we'll do our quarter turns on these screws. There we go. See, nice self-locking. It's always the last one, right? All right, well, thanks for tuning in. And as always, make sure that you clear the engine bay of any tools so you're not driving around with potential missiles and projectiles in your engine bay. All right, thanks so much.